thing about a flood is that no matter how devastating the flood might be, you can sometimes stand right at the edge of it and look on from dry or nearly dry land at the utter misery still unfolding, and in some cases still getting worse. Today in Louisiana, the Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson toured the flooded streets of Baton Rouge, met with survivors. He visited shelters. He said Louisiana will not have to start rebuilding alone. He said the federal government will work with the state for as long as it takes. But nearly a week into this disaster now, the people of Louisiana, in many cases, say they feel forgotten by the rest of the country. This was the headline in the Baton Rouge paper when Jay Johnson touched down in the state. Vacation or not, a hurting Louisiana needs you now, President Obama. This is a scathing editorial from The Advocate directly addressing President Obama. It says, quote, last week, as torrential rains brought death, destruction, and misery to Louisiana, the president continued his vacation at Martha's Vineyard. If the president can interrupt his vacation for a swanky fundraiser for fellow Democrat Hillary Clinton, as he did on Monday, then surely he can make time to show up for a catastrophe that has displaced thousands. He should pack his bags now and pay a call on communities who need to know that in a national catastrophe, they are not alone. Secretary Johnson said today that the president is following the situation closely, but clearly at least the Baton Rouge press wants the president to show up himself, to see for himself what the Red Cross is calling the worst natural disaster since Superstorm Sandy 4 years ago. 20 parishes, 20 counties in the state have been declared federal disaster areas. 13 people have died. 40,000 homes, 40,000 American homes are in ruins. Thousands of Louisianans are still seeking refuge in shelters. This is a long, slow, big disaster. Louisiana is going to need help, and lots of it. Some of the context here is important, too. Even before this storm, Louisiana as a state had really been on the brink of economic disaster. Don't blame me for saying so, but the state coffers, honestly, were really, really, really drained by the fiscal policies of the previous governor, Bobby Jindal. Intense tax cutting over this time as governor that really, really made the state broke at an emergency level. That situation was made worse by a drop in oil revenue, which plays large in that state's economic health. Already, Louisiana was facing the biggest fiscal shortfall in its history as a state, and then the rain started. And now, with whole swaths of the state a disaster area, with the recovery only just beginning, what does Louisiana need from the rest of the country? Are they getting that help fast enough? How do we make sure they do not feel forgotten as this ongoing disaster plows on? Joining us now for the interview tonight is Louisiana's Governor, John Bel Edwards. Governor Edwards, thank you so much for being with us. I know that you have a million demands on your time tonight. Can you give me a snapshot?
I appreciate the opportunity.
Can you just give me a snapshot, sir, of just where you are in the recovery and where you think you are in the timeline of this disaster?
Well, before we do that, I want to tell you we're still in the response. We still have historic flooding going on in Ascension Parish, and we have floodwaters moving south into St. James Parish on the east side of the Mississippi River. On the west side of the Mississippi River, on the Mermentau, we have historic flooding that's going on there in Acadia Parish and down into Jefferson Davis Parish and Cameron Parish as well. So I'm happy to talk about the recovery, but I just want everyone in the country to know that even though the rain started a week ago, we are still very much in the search and rescue and the response mode as we speak.
Do you have the resources that you need for the rescue and response mode? We've seen a lot of heartwarming stories about civilians, regular citizens, getting in John boats and getting together what they can to try to rescue their fellow citizens in need. Do you have the government resources that you need or the private resources that you need in order to rescue people who need help?
Well, what we do best in Louisiana is take care of one another, and I'm heartwarmed and gratified by the response that the people in Louisiana have had with respect to doing that. But I will tell you that I've also been gratified by the partnership we've had with the federal government, with the folks from FEMA who've been embedded with us in Baton Rouge since last Thursday. And since that time, we've had every thing that we needed in terms of assets and resources. We've actually pushed those down to the parish level so that the local first responders they have received every request that they've made in a timely fashion, but this flooding is historic. It's unprecedented. There's nothing in the record books that told us what to expect. And that comes despite the fact that it's an unnamed storm. This is not a hurricane. It was not a tropical storm, but it broke all the records nonetheless But I don't feel forgotten by the federal government. I will tell you, the media has not paid proper attention, and that the media attention doesn't help me to respond and help the people of Louisiana. But where we may be lacking is, without awareness around the country, the American Red Cross, for example, probably isn't receiving the donations, the contributions that it should, so that it can invest those dollars in Louisiana, helping our people. And so I want to encourage you and the folks that are watching to try to promote the story from that angle. But we have what we need from the federal government.
In terms of what is going to happen in days ahead, one of the things that seems clear to me is that this is not a disaster that has any clear end date to it. As you said, you're still in response and rescue mode. Recovery efforts are starting, but alongside this disaster still going on. As that happens, there's a fatigue issue, there may be a manpower issue, there may yet be a resources issue. Looking down the road, what do you think you're going to need that you don't already have?
Well, first of all, it's going to be many, many months. We've had over 40,000 homes damaged, more than 30,000 people rescued. Tonight, we're still sheltering 5,000 or 6,000 people and about 1,400 pets. But it's going to be many months, and we're going to need all of the assistance that we can get from FEMA for living assistance for individuals, so that individuals and families can access hotel rooms in the short term, move them out of shelters and into rental units, get them back in their homes just as quick as possible. And we're going to be doing that. We've been meeting really around the clock here with our federal partners, trying to fashion a program that will be most responsive to the people of Louisiana. And I believe that over the next couple of days, and again, we're 1 week into this event, but in the next couple of days, we're going to unveil a program that will be fairly robust and responsive, considering what the needs are.
One last question for you, Governor. The Baton Rouge Advocate put out that impassioned call that President Obama should get down there, that he should walk away from his vacation and come down to Louisiana. Do you want that?
Well, first of all, the president is welcome anytime he wants to come. I do want you to know, and your viewers to know, Rachel, that within hours of me making a request for a federal declaration, I got it from the president. He called me. I want you to know that I've been speaking to Valerie Jarrett just about every day. He dispatched the FEMA administrator to meet with me for an entire day. Today I had the Homeland Security Secretary, Jay Johnson. We've also had the four-star general who runs all of the guard for the country here today as well. So he is welcome to visit. It would, in all honesty, if he's going to visit, I would just as soon it be a week or 10 days, 14 days from now, because the vice president was here about 3 weeks ago to go to memorial service for the victims of the police officers who were killed here. And I will tell you, it is a major ordeal. They free up the interstate for them. We have to take hundreds of local first responders, police officers, sheriff's deputies, and state troopers to provide security for that type of visit. I would just as soon have those people engaged in the response rather than trying to secure the president. So I'd ask him to wait, if he would, another couple of weeks. But he's certainly welcome to visit anytime he wants to.
Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, absolutely in the thick of it right now with this huge disaster. Sir, thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight, and all best luck to you as you continue with this project.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.